we're now up to module number 4. It's flying by, isn't it? So in this module, we're going to take a look at target customer profile. And you can probably guess, since databases are ubiquitous, that the target customer profile is pretty broad. At the same time, though, it's important to focus on these key pain points that we've been talking about in earlier modules. So we're going to take a closer look at those in this module as well. And also look at things like qualifying questions that are going to help you to hopefully open up the discussion with customers. So here's our agenda for this module. We'll take a quick look at the customer profile. We'll also look really quickly at objection handling. Now there's going to be a separate module on objection handling, but we're going to introduce just a short slide on this just to get you thinking in the right terms about positioning these different sales plays that we've been talking about in previous modules. From there, we'll look at the key messages, the key audience, and the key pain points for each of those audiences. And we're really going to separate out the buyers from the influencers. From there, we'll look at typical business challenges, which you've already seen in some previous modules that relate to the 6 themes or plays that we've talked about, like database consolidation or coping with storage growth. And then we'll show again how that maps back to Oracle Database 12c and leave things with qualifying questions that will help you to get the discussion started in these different areas. Important note as well is that there will be a separate module that goes deeper into qualifying questions, but for this early module, we're just trying to get you some early exposure to it. All right. So let's take a look at the customer profile. So as I mentioned before, really any industry, any operating system, and any company of any size is really a potential customer. The key thing here, though, is these last couple of bullets, and that's that. First of all, the customer is using their information systems as a key tool to increase revenue, reduce costs, and provide tangible value to the organization. So if you can orient the discussion in those terms around, adding value in terms of, impacting the bottom line with some of these key offerings that we're offering, and in terms of simplifying and reducing costs, then that's going to get you a lot further than, just coming in and starting the discussion, by talking about the product itself. And then the second bullet around the customer striving to continually increase the strategic use of their information systems. That's the other kind of key piece here. In that, with the sophistication of IT, and really with this emergent trend of big data, customers can do much more with their information systems and engage with their customers on a much deeper level than they were able to in the past. And we'll talk about how we can map that level of engagement back to our products. And then finally, an important thing to remember is that, with Oracle Database already having this big market share of 50%, much of your focus as a salesperson should be going to this existing customer base and trying to figure out how they can improve, their experience with the database, how they can, become more strategic, how they can reduce costs, how they can reduce the amount of time spent on these things by focusing on upselling and cross-selling many of these options that we have available to customers. And then thinking about objection handling, when it might not be right to position a particular solution. And the important thing to keep in mind here is that, whether you're dealing with an existing customer or you're dealing with a prospect, Oracle Database is likely to offer a feature and option that's going to reduce the customer's total cost of ownership, that's going to save them time, or that's going to deliver a new strategic capability. And with that being the case, if customers are unresponsive, if you're not getting anywhere with them, it's going to be really important that you focus on a few things. And that's, first of all, one of the first things to really focus on is sizing your solution appropriately. And your SCs are going to have a lot of say in this, but it is important to keep in mind that with Oracle typically carrying a higher licensing cost per processor than a lot of our competitors, it's very important that you size things correctly so that utilization per processor is increased to a much higher degree than it would be with competing solutions. And if you can increase that utilization, that's really a key driver in reducing the overall cost of a solution. And the beauty of that is that you're not only reducing the cost of licensing something like Oracle Database or one of the many options that we offer, but you're also reducing costs that span things like the power cost to run these, the hardware costs, storage costs, and also corresponding licensing costs like operating systems. So, really this focus on increasing utilization can be a key driver in moving the discussion forward with your customers. The second thing you probably need to focus on with your solution is refocusing on options that are addressing the core pain point. And we've talked a lot about the different types of pain points that customers can have, whether it's coping with data explosion, whether it's worrying about security breaches or managing personally identifiable information, whether it's maintaining high availability, making sure that business critical applications stay up and running 99.99% of the time. All of those things, are really entrees into a conversation with the customer about, where they're maybe not getting the level of performance or security or scalability that they need, and then refocusing the discussion on the relevant options that can address that core pain. And then finally, and this kind of goes back to that first bullet, the focus really needs to be on quantifying the overall lifetime savings or value of the solution. And we have several tools available that are both internal tools and also customer-facing tools like total cost of ownership calculators that help customers to see the overall savings of the solution and not get them hung up on just something like the licensing cost of the solution. Alright, so now let's take a look at the key messages, the audience, and the key pain points for each one of those audiences. So, first of all, looking at our key messages, they really focus around, plugging into the cloud with Oracle Database 12c. And what we mean by that is that with Oracle Database 12c, we've actually re-architectured the entire product so that it's designed for the cloud. And it really goes back to this notion of this option called Oracle Multi-Tenant that allows customers to, virtualize or put their data on the cloud at the absolute highest level of consolidation. We'll get into this a little bit later, looking at consolidation through different lenses. But there's many different ways customers can consolidate, whether it's going to virtual machines, whether it's virtualizing the operating systems, and then finally, with Oracle Multi-Tenant, whether it's actually virtualizing the databases themselves. In doing that, really what customers get out of that is that they're able to get out a fast, scalable, reliable, and secure database platform, and that allows them to lower the cost and risk of database consolidation. And at the same time, it allows them to deliver enterprise-class performance, availability, security, and analysis for not only transactional data, but also big data. So now let's take a look at the key audience here. And really we've broken this down into three key groups. So on the far left, we have business and senior IT, and these are folks like the CIO, VPs, director level folks, the head database administrator, and really these folks are your buyers. They're the ones who are actually going to be the ones that drive the deal. And for them, their pain points are really focused on two things. One is this lowering risk, which is the cost of IT and the cost of downtime. And so if they can lower that risk, and drive risk down, you're really addressing a key pain point. And the other one that they really get hung up on is inefficient use of IT. And the inefficiency can be in terms of a server utilization, it can be in terms of storage, and it can also be in terms of human resources, in terms of their staff, spending too much time keeping the lights on and not enough time actually innovating. So if you can get across to them that Oracle Database is increasing agility, is making their IT staff more flexible, more agile, more able to respond to the market, while at the same time lowering risk, improving quality of service, then you've really got a winning message that they're going to be receptive to. Now at the same time, you've got two key influencers that are really going to help get into the buyer's ear, get into senior IT's ear and help to move deals along. And those are the technical IT that actually work in the database environment, and also the apps IT groups who rely on fast database performance to provide fast application performance. So with technical IT, their pain points really boil down to the complexity of IT, and especially this need to keep things highly available and keep things up and running. For them, there's this tension that, they're probably perfectly happy spending a lot of their time maintaining the environment. And so you want to de-emphasize that part of them about freeing them up to do other value-add things. And instead, you really want to emphasize some of the, other benefits of Oracle Database around, high availability, high reliability, high security, that sort of thing. And that kind of goes hand in hand with apps IT. I mean, for them, it's a simple pain point of, they need great performance, and if they're not getting it, that's impacting their applications and really frustrating them. And so if you can communicate to them that, Oracle Database is improving quality and performance of application, while at the same time also allowing for faster time to market, for faster deployments, that's something that they'll be very receptive to. Okay, and so we're coming back to this chart again, around business challenges of customers seeking a solution that's going to accelerate business results, manage business risk, and reduce cost and complexity. And, if you think about it, going back to that previous chart, those pain points, these three, broader themes and these six kind of tactical initiatives, or tactical goals, really address, the typical business challenges that both the buyers and the influencers face. And looking at the sweet spots of Oracle Database 12c, you see the value propositions on the left, and again, you've got the sales pillars, and within those sales pillars, options that really address each of those value propositions. In a couple modules, as I mentioned before, we're gonna really drill deeply down into each one of these. And then finally, we're going to end this module today looking at qualifying questions that can help you to get the conversation in each of these areas. So a simple question around asking your customer if they're looking to simplify their infrastructure and lower costs can really be, the start of a conversation about consolidating databases or embracing things like database as a service. Asking questions about needing to manage big data, to get on top of big data, can really open the door to having a conversation about Oracle's approach to big data, and the relevant things that we offer to address that. Trouble keeping up with data growth, or questions around data growth, or utilization of data, or performance of data. All of those things can get the conversation started about how well optimized a customer storage environment is. And then this whole conversation around needing to ensure 99.99% uptime can get you talking about high availability, about business critical applications, and some of the great options that we offer that address that. Asking the questions about storing sensitive information, being worried about breaches, can get you talking about data security. And then finally, this whole time question of, what is your IT staff mainly focusing their time on? Are you looking to free up time to add value? That can really get you into a discussion around database manageability and things like consolidation. So we'll leave it there for this module. Thank you guys again for listening to this, and we will talk again soon when we get into the next one. Thanks.